Okay, we're vaguely on here. Welcome to the Bodybuilding.com podcast, everyone. I'm Nick Polius, an editor at Bodybuilding.com. This is Heather Eastman over here. And to the left, we have Kym Perfetto, a.k.a. Let's put a K in there. AA. How about, does AA work?
Trying to tell me something?
Hey.
I only took pre-workout one day.
AAA. She's this podcast brought to you by AAA, our friends at AAA. In the Bodybuilding.com home away from home. Kym Nonstop is our guest here.
That's correct.
She is a trainer, bike racer, YouTuber, once a contestant on The Amazing Race.
True that. Should have won.
I saw that. Yeah, you got jettisoned in what part of the world exactly?
I mean, we lost in Singapore to Bethany Hamilton and her husband, who are pro surfers, and the challenge was surfing. So,
what a bunch of bullshit.
Come on. I mean, to be fair, though, there was cycling earlier on in the series. So.
I saw you cycling through Marrakesh with a goat carcass, a goat hide.
Did you almost do the craziest stuff on that show?
Go carcass.
Carcass.
Yeah.
But right now, more to the point, she's living that easy fitness model life in Boise, Idaho, rocking the spray tan. And she's the star of a new program on Bodybuilding.com All Access called Homebody. Anyway, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks.
I did want to ask you about the reality race just a little bit because when I started watching it reminded me of an article that I ran by one of our contributors a while ago. He was the strength coach. He was like a SWAT team cop, and he did this thing called "Was I Prepared for a Reality TV Show Race?" because he was on a reality TV show.
Okay.
And the conclusion was no, he wasn't.
Uh-huh.
And he asked himself, like, what would I have done differently? He said, I would have just, been riding a lot of horses and carrying heavy shit around the park. And that was his one regret. But it made me wonder, like, you're obviously a very fit person. This is pretty fundamental to who you are. How prepared were you for that? What did you do to prepare for that massive adventure, and how did it work out?
My teammate and I were so prepared. Actually, we were like we're ready to win it, and we were just like spot on. All what we did was we watched every night. We would watch back episodes of the show, so we would have some idea, and then we'd just train like different things. We'd go rock climbing. I was probably in the best shape of my life at that point in time because I was like cross training everything. It was like cardio, strength. We had to make sure we could pull ourselves up because we didn't know like if we'd be like rappelling or like climbing in and out of a boat or all kinds of stuff, which we ended up actually having to do. And then just like packing and unpacking our packs really fast and like having them super light and like just having everything down to a science. And really the pitfall for us was decision making, really. And we had a plan. So like we were like, when we get to this crossroads, we're gonna make a decision like this. And so we were like, we had everything down. And then the reason we lost is because we went against our plan.
Of course.
And I think I just got a little ahead of myself. We had been winning and like coming in top 3 so much that I think my ego is what got us kicked off. So that's always a good lesson to learn at some point in your life. It just sucks that it cost us $1 million, but what can you do?
Yeah, but what do you take away from that though? Like, okay, yeah, you were the fittest you'd ever been in your life at that point, totally capable of meeting any sort of challenge. Like, what survives in what you do now from that experience?
I mean, the takeaway from that is you can get fit anytime, anywhere, and that's part of what Homebody is about too. But like, I mean, literally, we were taking 40-pound bags of kitty litter and like throwing them on and like running relays together. And like, teamwork is really important too, because it's a team race. And just having that confidence in yourself and feeling like, I think in order to keep nerves at bay in a competition, it's like just knowing that you've done everything you can to prepare. And that's what that was about.
Sure. And you're definitely no stranger to competition.
No.
I saw that you've done.
Everything's a competition.
Right. You won a big courier bike race like about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And you still race?
Been racing ever since. The North American Cycle Courier Championships, and then launched into racing track and then racing road and racing the Red Hook Crits, which is a fixed gear, brakeless track bike criterium. World Series happens all over the world.
I don't want to be in the audience of that, but that sounds like one where somebody could get taken out at the knees.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. Like, bikes go flying on a regular basis. It's definitely like the badass version of bike racing right now. It's the hot one.
It's like the roller derby of bike
Yes,
racing.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just have a negative association with fixed gears because I've been on them exactly twice, and I crashed within 2 blocks over the handlebars exactly twice. You know?
Okay. You forgot to keep pedaling.
It kept pedaling, of course,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to figure out what to do, and then the pedals just launch my ass over the handlebars
Yeah,
directly into the middle of the
yeah.
intersection. But whatever.
I would say
that's a
that when
me
the
problem.
bike suddenly stops and you don't, that's how I broke my jaw.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
But you've
Very
probably
dangerous.
broken everything at this point,
Yeah.
right?
Actually, knock on some fake wood, I have not broken a single bone.
Not even your collarbone? Oh,
No,
those
Why would
I
you
know,
curse
and
me
like
like that?
you're cursing me here. Thanks. man. Like I'm about to start my season, and thanks a lot. So, no, I mean I've had injuries, but I've torn MCL, and I've torn my labrum in my shoulder. So I've torn things, but I haven't broken anything, and I am believing that my bones are made of just like solid rock, and they can't break.
Glutamine and adamantium.
Yep. There we go.
So
Nice.
you're not
Good
going to be
reference.
able. I mean, you're here filming a bunch of follow-along workouts. You're probably not going to be able to get in the hills and go mountain biking here, right?
I wish.
Okay, because they're pretty great, and
I need some
there are
extra days.
collarbones just littered along the trail.
No, it's not
disgusting.
that terrible.
But anyway, you're here. You're here shooting videos all week. We're shooting this. They're all follow-along workouts in Homebody. How different is this experience than anything that, like, compared to training for a bike race,
Yeah.
training for a global race? What's the fitness model life feel like?
It's pretty hard. I wish it wasn't called fitness model because
I
it
know.
should be called something more hardcore. It's hard. It is hard. Like I'm not complaining. Maybe I am complaining. I mean, I do my YouTube channel videos, and that's like kind of on my own schedule. So I'll shoot like 3 or 4 in a day, but then I won't get up and do it again the very next day. So here we are shooting 5 to 7 workouts in a day, and getting up and doing it again the next day and the next day. And I'm mentally broken today. I'm feeling it.
Yeah, today
I'm
was a
feeling
fun
it.
morning.
God, it was hard. So yeah.
What were you filming this morning?
I mean, yoga. But like
Fucking yoga.
it's something that's why I said mentally broken, because like it just gets to that point where you're physically tired and then you mess up and then you I get hard on myself, and then it's hard to like bounce back from that. So just like keeping the energy up and keeping all of that up, it's tested me for sure.
Yeah, it's. I mean, having not experienced, but just watch the tiniest little bit. It's a different sort of challenge.
Yeah.
And that's what's been so cool about watching you, because I've gotten to be here on set with her and watching your energy. And we had a moment when we first met where I said something about at-home workouts, and you're like, like there's at-home workouts and there's what I do. It's basically kind of the gist of it. And then watching you, like what you do is intense. It's not like your little, I'm just going to do a few crunches and call it good. It's, I mean, you're jumping up and down, you're all over the floor, you're doing these crazy ninja moves. And so do you feel like, I guess my question is like, how did that kind of evolve into Kym Nonstop, your YouTube channel? Like, where did that come from? That whole, like, I'm going to work out at home, but I'm not going to do normal, boring stuff. I'm going to do my stuff.
Well, I've always had a passion for training, and not always had the money for a gym membership. So that's kind of where I started with, home workouts, and even in college, just like dorm room working out. And I think fitness should be accessible to everybody. It should always be something that anyone can do. And unfortunately, we've gotten into this place of like, marketing really flashy, exclusive gyms and programs. And it gives people yet another excuse, maybe, why they can't be fit. And I've always wanted to be able to do it. I'm just like fiercely independent to a fault. Like I just want to do it myself. But I love learning new things. So I always go, when I go to like a CrossFit gym, or I go to a boot camp, or if I go to a gym class or do a new sport, anytime we're doing a warm up or we're doing exercise, I take note, like, can I do this at home? And that's where like most of my warm up moves came from, just like simply taking doing some CrossFit, or doing, taking some yoga classes or whatever. Or I even will go online to YouTube and watch other trainers and be like, what are they doing? And it's not about stealing. It's just about like taking all that information and making it your own. And definitely there's certain moves I gravitate towards. And that's what I say in my trainer. I tell people, make small adjustments every time you're doing a move because you might find you like it better a certain way. Like you don't have to like doing the lunge twist the way I do it. You can, stay a little bit higher off the ground or whatever. There's always like fine tuning the movement so that it suits your body better. And that's kind of how I just got to the way I train myself. And then I share that with everybody else.
So your home is sort of your laboratory where you can synthesize everything.
I mean, the world is my laboratory, and then my home is where I like nail it down to a formula.
Sure. No, I think you hit on something good there, though. It's like it's easy for people to either think you're the sort of person who works out at home, or it's just not the sort of thing that you do. Like it took me a long time to be able to click with training at home.
Yeah.
I felt like I had to do it someplace else just mentally, and then about a year ago, I just figured out it's actually easier to fit it in.
Easier.
It's so, and in the morning in particular, you get up, you do it, it's done.
Yeah.
And man, I love it now. I can't imagine not doing it that way.
Exactly.
But it takes a long time to wrap your brain around that because we associate home with all the other shit we need to do.
Relaxing, checking emails, working, whatever.
Right.
I mean, I work from home. I work out at home. I do a lot of things at home other than my cycling training, which is always outdoors. But I was very inspired. One of my roommates many years ago, he is a filmmaker. He's a killer filmmaker now. His film just won some awards in Sundance, Qasim Basir, and he was just so like dedicated to a schedule. He would wake up every morning, do some writing, and then every day at like, noon or whatever the time was, he'd stop everything, work out at home, go back, take a shower, phone calls, writing, go to meetings. And like, I just watched that and I was like, how do you like, you're basically working like a structured 9 to 5 and you never leave the house. Like it's amazing.
Just alarms going off like,
yeah. And it was just, I was really impressed by his dedication. And I was like, well, I can do that. Like I know I make excuses that I can't do that, but I can do that. So I think when you see someone else, it's always great to have a model and have someone else, it's all about scheduling and sticking to your schedule the same way you would stick to a schedule that someone else is expecting you. You have to be expecting yourself and show up for yourself.
So how do you do it then? Do you, if because obviously you don't just cycle, you do strength training as well. How do you find time for it all, and how do you split it up to make it work?
I mean, it's my job now. So, I mean, I have time because it's like, this is my life, is show up and train. And I have the certain amount of miles I have to put in every week on the bike. And then after that, cross training, because I know I feel like crap if I don't. I mean, if my body starts talking to me, I know I haven't been doing enough, like core work and stretching and rolling and all of that stuff. I mean, your body will let you know, whether it be you're showing a little extra around the midsection or your back's hurting or whatever it is. Your body's going to tell you if you're not giving it the time it deserves.
Sure. Well, and I feel like cyclists in particular can be a little single-minded, kind of like runners and other people who, there are a million competitions out there for you if you want to compete in those things. It can be easy to think all I need to do is more of what I'm doing.
Yeah. Sports-specific training. I mean, it's legitimate. Doing more miles, more time in the saddle is going to make me a better cyclist. However, when things start to fall apart and like you have any kind of back pain or neck pain or shoulder pain, or you tear something, that's when you realize you've really been neglecting everything else. Your body will always tell you.
So if somebody is approaching a plan like this, thinking of like this is going to be my cross training, I don't know. Yeah, you think this plan would work well for somebody who they're currently married to an activity, whatever it is.
Yeah,
yoga, golf, cycling. This is just a good base building plan for somebody.
Yeah, I think this plan is great. It's definitely great for all levels, and it's going to give you that really strong foundation to go off and as your jump off point for any of your sports that you're doing, any of your goals for this year. And if you're already, like waist deep in professional, snowboard or whatever, this is not going to hurt you in any way.
Non-professional
snowboard. I'm just saying
you're
like
a drone racer or
whoever it is, like it's great for people who are just starting to find their fitness. But for those of you who have found your fitness and gone far beyond, don't forget to come back to the basics. And I mean, when I say basics, I'm not saying it's easy. There's still like the basics of plyo and the basics of Tabata and the basics of cardio. I mean, this isn't like basics just doing bird dog all day. How fun would that be?
So what do you think the key is for somebody to succeed on a program like this? I mean, you talk about scheduling a little bit, but have you ever felt the siren call of one of those, like, all right, I'm going to do an 8-week, 12-week blank program and stuck through it all the way? And what makes the difference?
Sticking to a plan. I mean, I think everybody can relate who has done one or done a challenge, is that you have that feeling of accomplishment at the end. And you can look back on everything that you've done, and you've kind of got a record of what you're capable of. So then even if you depart after that, at the end of that 8-week program, and you decide, all right, now I'm going to go do the month-long yoga plan and then come back, but you can come back to it and see, did you lose fitness? It's like a great place to measure from. And yeah, I think the number one thing you get from a plan is a schedule, like, a consistency. And that's like what most people who are struggling in fitness and feel like they can't quite get their footing and get fit or like get a leg up, and they're like, I've tried all these things and nothing works. I bet you it always boils down to consistency. It's like, you've tried all these things, but have you done them enough?
Yeah, I was listening to a talk that was like, you can't really measure fitness based on your first workout or your first week because there's no change yet, you know, but you can measure fitness over time.
Totally.
So totally what you're saying, that consistency is how you start to measure, like, oh, I started here and now I'm way over here. Whereas if you're trying to look at it every single day, you're not really going to see much change. But I really think the difference with this program, like you said, is that you're removing all the excuses, and then you're so great at throwing out all these wonderful like innovations. I think the other day you said something about putting kitty litter in milk jugs as a way to make your own set of dumbbells.
As like coins in milk jugs,
coins or
a bag of kitty litter. But yeah, a kitty litter in milk jugs, sand in milk jugs. Like, I mean, I've made my own sandbag before. I loved when YouTube is a phenomenal resource, and bodybuilding is an amazing resource. Like, anything you need to learn, if you ever feel like, oh, I don't have the equipment or I don't have the money for the equipment, I promise you can build it. Just make it yourself.
No, I think so, and I think CrossFit was actually really good at recognizing some of that early on. Like, hey, you want a pair of parallettes? We're not going to sell them to you. We're just going to give you the PDF to show you how to make them out of PVC. Or things like sandbags, I think, are so underrated that they cost nothing. You go to Home Depot, they're like 79 cents.
Oh, I love sandbags.
Yeah, and there's something that a certain kind of hard to define strength that comes along with that stuff. We had another guest on, Cassandra Martin, who's an Instagram fitness model, and she was saying she's basically followed the same bodybuilding program for years, and she works construction on the side, has to carry concrete bags.
Oh,
She's like, this is that's the difference maker. It's the workout is great, but like, you can get overworked on a workout just by doing the same damn thing. But carrying bags of concrete around is like the X factor.
Functional.
And I've told that to so many people since then, like, pick some heavy shit up, carry it around, or something like I think kitty litter is fun because it moves with you while you're playing with it as well. So in this program, what sort of equipment demands are there?
There's not very minimal equipment demands in this program. We kept it that way for a reason. I wanted to kind of have the lowest entry point for people, that literally anyone of any fitness level with any kind of things around their house can just start. Because I think for a lot of people, getting started is the hardest part. And you just need to, jump in and get started. And so I try to make it lots of options. I have a kettlebell, and I have dumbbells and bands. So that's all I have. And for every workout, I give people options as to whether or not they want to use the kettlebell, the dumbbell, or the bands. And then I throw in a few extra things.
It's a good combo.
Like milk jugs full of coins and stuff. Yeah.
No, I think that's a good combo, and I think as much as it can be fun to approach this with zero equipment too, sometimes when you're starting a program, you want to take it seriously. It can be kind of nice to have just one thing you buy to make it feel a little bit more serious. I got my sister to buy a couple of kettlebells, and they're there calling to you. It's pretty nice.
They're just sitting there on the floor, just saying, "Come on."
And then one day you wake up with 14 of them in the house all of a sudden. Like, I have all
That's when we have to do an intervention
so fun.
for Nick.
I mean, definitely, if you have the funds, invest in your fitness. Like, buy a new workout outfit and buy some equipment, and you're going to feel like, guilty if you don't use them. Not only that, but you're going to be excited because it's something new. So, always invest in yourself. But sometimes like, funds are tight or you just want to get it started or you're traveling. Like for me, I'm always on the road. Like I'm not going to put a kettlebell in my suitcase. Are you kidding me? So, I mean, yeah, it's like find what I can, work with what I can when I'm traveling.
So are you pretty body weight oriented on the road? Are you a band person? Or?
I bring bands.
They're great.
Yeah. Because they're super light, easy to travel with, and body weight. And the hollow foam roller, stuff my clothes in that because the foam roller is awesome. Or like the stick. Yeah. And then like a racquetball sometimes. But it's all about, recovery a lot of times because I'm on the road racing.
Right.
So.
Well, and I have to mention it because we actually found a video and had to share it with everybody. But I love that you don't take yourself so seriously, that you don't have fun with your fitness. And
Taking yourself seriously was not what I thought when I was watching this video.
So you now have, I think, 4 or 5 episodes of Drunk Yoga, which I think is hilarious because you meet yogis and they're very like, my body is a temple, and you're kind of turning that on its head, and you do that with a couple of other modalities. And so,
yeah, my body's a temple with tequila.
It's a bottle.
So
my body's a bottle.
I just thought it was so great that of all things to choose, you chose yoga, which is like already prone to smashing your face on the floor. And then you add in this.
I'm pretty sure high yoga is a thing right now. Drunk yoga, I don't think is quite a thing except in your
She's making it a thing though. So
but high yoga is only legal in a few states right now, so we gotta wait until that one can take off. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I couldn't become a fitness guru without like poking fun at fitness gurus at the same time. I mean, I am fully aware that like this is very easy to make fun of, especially when you're just like, I'm so fit and like 6-pack, spray tan. It's just, I was a bike messenger and my friends were bike messengers and they were always just like, fitness Barbie doll over there. Like, I got made fun of all the time and whatever.
For being fit as a bike courier.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's like I wasn't quite clean cut enough, tattooed and like kind of trash talking the sailor mouth and piercings. I wasn't clean cut enough for like the fitness model side of things. And then I wasn't like, rough around the edges enough for the other group. But I just found my own little niche. And I feel like that corner of the fitness world has definitely grown since then. Like more and more people are there now and able to not be offended, when you're like, yes, I can drink beer and I can do this and I can do that. And so yoga, I used to trash talk yoga all the time. I used to make fun of yoga. Now I got to say I love it. And I don't know how to like tell everybody, but I love yoga now. But drunk yoga is just like a fun thing to do. I used to say I only do yoga when I'm drunk, but that's not true anymore.
Yeah, well then you poke fun at like the couples workouts and things like that.
God.
We just watched
how
that
can you
video,
not?
which was hilarious. Well, thank you, because how can you not make fun of it? Have you seen that one, Nick? Where
I don't think so.
It's you and a girlfriend and thank goodness you brought a girlfriend in because I think that made it a little bit more fun. But we were scared to click on it because like, can we watch this?
It was
at
called
work?
Sexercise. That's why. Yeah, we titled it Sexercise.
The star of Sexercise on Bodybuilding.com
All of a
here.
sudden our hits just went way up.
Ooh.
I don't. So why did we call this one Homebody? Sexercise is obviously something that's going to sell better. The logo just.
Yep.
Oh dear.
And I got my hands on Prancercise and made a parody of Prancercise with remaking the CNC Music Factory smash hit from the 80s. Everybody dance now. And did a whole rap about that. And then also did a remake of Oh My God, Shoes. Do you remember that one? That was like an old YouTube thing. And I redid it with kale because I am... Despite my despite my best efforts, I am still a basic bee who loves kale. So had to make fun of that.
See, I'm with you. People love to talk shit about kale these days, but I think if you don't like kale, you don't have an imagination.
Yeah,
Like,
you can do
kale's
such
so
amazing
freaking
stuff.
easy
Thank
to
you.
work with.
I've got like 16 kale recipes on my channel, and I'm still putting out more.
And the best thing is, you make a salad out of it, you cook it, you can just leave it there for a couple
you
of
can
days,
cook-
and it's still good.
You can
It's
cook
so
the hell out
tough.
of it and it still is crunchy. And I think that's why people hate it, but that's why I love it.
Yeah. You gotta
And you have to massage it though. Like you if you know kale, you know that
massage it.
you must massage the kale,
kale.
right? That's a
Must.
whole other workout.
If I get unmassaged kale, someone like if I go to
Who
restaurant
the
in town.
hell?
I'm like, take this back. What is this crap? You're trying to feed me grass? I get really mad about
My
it.
kale demands a massage.
My kale gets massaged more than my legs do.
So are you treating yourself to a massage when all of this is over with Bodybuilding.com?
God, I need
or
to.
A giant kale salad, or are you just like diving straight into the deep dish pizza or something?
I don't do cheese, and so deep dish pizza. I mean, like I actually mentioned that in one of the videos so far about cheat days. I don't believe in cheat days really, because I love what I eat. So I don't feel like I'm deprived. Like I don't go through my day being like, God, I wish I could eat this or that. I love all the food I choose to eat. And when people are like, I just don't like this, I just don't like that, I think the real truth is that someone needs to give food a chance. And if you've decided you don't like Brussels sprouts, then have you tried them 12 different ways? That's like the rule. 12 different ways. There was a dietitian once that told the most stubborn kid I was training on MTV's Made. The dietitian said, you have to try it 12 different ways before you're allowed to say you don't like it, because literally the kid didn't want to eat anything other than chicken nuggets.
So what with Brussels sprouts in particular? What's the one way?
Bacon.
Well, of course.
Oh yeah. There's with bacon.
Bacon and Brussels sprouts.
You can broil, you can bake, you can saute, you can braise, you can
Right.
I had like a fried Brussels sprout salad that was amazing.
fry.
I don't know. I'd say I tried like 8 ways with Brussels sprouts, and they all
way to
involved
go.
cooking, and there was still something that I couldn't quite do. And then one time I just chopped them up in the blender and like made a coleslaw, a raw Brussels sprout coleslaw.
We loved it.
Well, they're
It's
baby
my absolute
cabbages.
favorite. Yeah,
That's how you get kids to
exactly.
eat them. You just say it's baby cabbages, and they're all over it.
Every other way that I prepared them, they
See?
still they're a little assy. I don't know.
But it's all about finding that one way that you
Right.
will eat the food. And eventually, if you do that with all the foods, you're going to have a very, a varied diet. So.
But I mean, we're not talking about a cheat here. We're talking about a reward at the end of for the full fitness model week.
My reward is rest days.
Her reward
I am
is
not
Face down on the
showing up.
ground.
I am not going to do any plyometrics or squats for at least 2 days. It's going to be great.
No more high knees.
I'm going to go riding my bike in the mountains. That's going to be my reward.
That sounds well earned. Well, the program is Homebody on Bodybuilding.com. It's a
8-week program.
8-week home fitness program.
With nutrition and supplement recommendations.
Exactly. And a couple of little equipment things if you want them, but can be done without, right? All right. Well, Kym Nonstop, thank you so much for coming and talking with us.
Thank
Looking forward to having you on
you
the
for
site.
having me.